So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below, so check those out for massive discounts on all your Hidden Summoner needs as well as all your other Yu-Gi-Oh needs. But let's get on with the profile. What's up YouTube, Dale here from YUGIOH, bringing you a budget elemental hero deck profile now. We've got the introduction of Summon Sorceress as well as a nice new promo card that came alongside Summon Sorceress and a reprint of Isolde. So it's nice and easy to pick up some of the cards you need for this deck. Now if you have a bit more money and you want to make it a bit more competitive, I will tell you a couple of cards you can put in that will cost a little bit more. But without further ado, I'm going to take you through this deck profile, show you exactly what we've got, and I'll explain to you guys why we're going with the ratios we've got. So, we start off with the main deck, and of course we play triple elemental hero solid soldier. Quite straightforward on that one. It's an incredibly powerful card, and we got it in one of the megatins, the most recent megatin that is. Triple Vision Hero Vial. Now this is the most expensive card at this moment in time, purely because it does what it needs to do. When it's normal summoned or special summoned, you send a hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. So it's another Foolish Burial for Malicious. Its second effect you don't really worry too much about in this deck. Now, if you did want to take these out because you haven't got the money to kind of splurge on this deck and you want a bit more fun, put in extenders. We've got a decent amount of cards in this deck that can kind of help send Malicious from deck to the graveyard. So taking or swapping this guy out, what you'd really want to be putting in is more extenders. That's the one thing I haven't put in this deck because I've tried to keep it as close to 40 as possible. Now, some budget options for extenders are, of course, your Junk Forward, your Goblinberg, your Marauding Captain, and of course your Blue Mountain Butterfly. Now on top of that you could play the Photon Thrasher as well. It's entirely up to you on what plays you want to go with. Now in my opinion, going with stuff like Marauding Captain is... it's tough to say because I mean the Junk Forward is great but you need to have no monsters. The Marauding Captain is great but it activates to summon another one from hand, so it can get ogred or disrupted that way. The Butterfly is great, but you need to be able to normal summon a hero monster prior to that. And then the Goblinberg is great, but like Marauding Captain, it's a normal summon and then activate effect, so it still can hurt you a little bit. You've just got to kind of go with whatever's your personal preference to try and extend your board as best you possibly can. We've then got two Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. You can play this at 3 if you want. I've cut it down to 2 because I want to get to a 41 card deck. I've tried to get to a 40 card deck, but I've not found anything that I want to cut as of yet in this budget to build. But 2 Shadow Mist kind of seem the best to me. You want it in your hand when you're summoning it off of Solid Man, but then of course you also want it in graveyard to send from deck to search you out another hero should you need to. Now it's really down to you on the ratios you want to play. By all means put in a 3rd Shadow Mist. For now it kind of works okay for me because I've got the Roders, I've got the 3E hero calls, so I've got enough to play around with where I need to. And then of course you can special summon it from deck as well off of your Isolde. We're then still playing the 2 Malicious. It's still one of the best cards in this deck to extend. With 2, you've got less chance of opening up in your hand, which is a great thing to do. The shame of not getting another extension is a bit of a disappointment. More so that it got hit because it wasn't the hero's fault, in a sense. But still, being able to put one of these to grave, banish it, get an extension out of board, and then push your plays further forward that way. The 1 Stratos, because it's still at 1 at this moment in time, but as soon as it comes back any higher, you know it will definitely be getting upped. Triple Neo-Spacian Connector. This is the brand new promo that came with the special editions. Now this card is really good. So when it's normal summoned, you special summon 1 Neo-Spacian monster or elemental hero Neos from your hand or deck in defense position. You contribute this card, then target 1 Neo-Spacian monster or elemental hero Neos in your graveyard. Special summon it in defense position. You can only use the effect once per turn. So it's nice. It's got a bit of recurrence going on, in the sense that if you do end up special summoning this guy off, you can bring back your 1 Neo-Spacian Aquadolphin. On top of that, if you normal summon this, you special summon this from deck, which is a great extension as they're both warriors. You could use this effect if you wanted to, but then you're running your risk that you're going to hit one of those cards that you really would like. You want to be summoning your ogres, your ashes and stuff like that, so it is a bit of a gamble. And then of course you put these 2 together, go into Isolde, and then extend your plays further forward that way. And obviously if you've used Neo-Spacian Aquadolphin's effect, it's got a time winning option as well. And then of course you've null and voided a hand trap or seen your opponent's hand, which is great as well. 1 elemental hero Honest Neos, search this off of your Isolde, and then of course you've got a nice little hand trap to play around with. The 1 Armageddonite, And the one Shien Squire. Now, the other one I think is Attack Gainer. Off the top of my head, I haven't got one of those myself. If you can pick them up cheap enough, by all means, do so. I picked this up incredibly cheap. The only reason you do this is you can bring it off of Isolde and make a Nat Beast play. So, Attack Gainer does the exact same thing. It just gives that a little bit of boost should you be going second. So that's it for the monster lineup. Like I said, I haven't really put a lot of monster extenders in here yet. I do need to still play around with the ratios. I just couldn't find anything to cut to make it around 40. You've got enough. Ideally, if you open up this and then your Shadow Mist or any way to get Shadow Mist, you've got a very, very powerful and decent board going on that way. And then, like I said, with the Isolde plays, the only thing that I would change is if I was going to try and put more extenders in there, I would take the reliance off of all the equipped spells in the deck, because that's one thing I personally don't like is running like 5 equipped spells, because I really feel that it has a negative effect on the deck. You don't want to, because you kind of stumble quite a bit if you open up more than one, and then if you wanted to cut it down, you could afford to open up none, basically. Anyway, onto the spells. We've got triple Mask Change, quite straightforward on that one. Triple Equal, again, standard on that one. Triple Instant Fusion. Now, you'll see when I get to the extra deck that I've tried to make this a bit more consistent, purely because I don't like having one instant fusion target for 3 instant fusions, because then it means there's 2 cards in my deck that are completely dead. So I've got 2 targets in my extra deck, and then if you wanted to, you could put in a 3rd instant fusion target to either help extend your board, or of course to help disrupt your opponents, something like Millennium Eyes or Thousand Eyes, really up to you. Triple Call by the Grave, you want your effects going off. The one thing that this deck will get absolutely stung by is Draw and Lockbird, so you need to make sure you either rip that out of your hand with your opponent's Neo-Spacian, or of course you Call by the Grave it. And then we play a lot of one-offs, and we've got the 1 Monster Reborn, the 1 Foolish Burial, the 1 A Hero Lives, Reinforcement of the Army, DDR, so this is a nice little quick spell because it has a use if you do open it up by bringing back a Malicious. 1 Overdone Burial, little bit risky as a play card. Me personally, if I was going to play 5 equipped spells, I did want to kind of play around with the Bamboo Engine, just because I want to make sure that if I do draw any of my equipped spells, they're going to be doing something for me, which is why, of course, I play the 1 Moon Mirror Shield and the 1 Living Fossil, alongside, of course, the standard Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. And then for the traps, we've got the 2 Phantom Knights of Shade Brigade. This is obviously, of course, an additional extender. If you open this up, you set it because you've got no traps, you play it straight away, so it's an additional warrior monster on board. If you wanted to, you could put the new Link Free Phantom Knights into your extra deck. It's not a requirement, but you could play around with that if you wanted to. Now onto the extra deck. I'll take you through the Link monsters first, and then when I get to... Actually, I'll do the Link monsters last, because there is an option at the end of the Link monsters as a either or. So start off with the XYZs, we've got the 1 Tornado Dragon. This can be a Baguska, Abyss Dweller, any rank 4 you want. Your 1 Nat Beast, this is a nice little store. You get this on board alongside a Dark Claw, you're going to cause your opponent a heck of a lot of issues. For my instant fusion targets, I've got the 1 Dragoness, the Wicked Knight. Purely because it's a warrior extension, you can play the Carbario Knight, but it's a little bit more expensive. The 1 Invoke Raijin, again, straightforward on that one. Double Masked Hero Darklaw, want to be getting this bad boy out as best you possibly can. The 1 Masked Hero Anki for the OTK, and then of course you've got the 1 Masked Hero Diane. Again, this is a little bit more expensive because it's only had like 1 print, I believe, so again you can take this out for an instant fusion target if you wish, but it's still an incredibly good card to bring off of your solid man. For the Link monsters, of course, we've got the 1 Nightmare Phoenix, the 1 Nightmare Cerberus. If you want to put a bit more money in, you take the Cerberus out and go into either a Deco Talker, which can just be a straight up swap, or of course you take this out and go into a Unicorn. We've then got the 2 Isoldes, again, cheapest chips to get now that you're getting the special editions, especially if you're trying to get hold of the Connector. The 1 Summon Sorceress, again, very, very cheap and easy to get hold of. Very, very good in this deck because it's another way of getting the tuner out because it's a warrior for your Nat Beast. And it's another way of summoning like a level 4, rank 4 push forward, or of course like a Shadow Mist to put through for a Mask Change. Don't search out the Mask Change because obviously its effects are negated, but it does give you that fodder on board to go into either of these 3 guys that you want to. You then got the Saruja Skuldred, just because it's the cheaper Link 4 monster out there, and it can fix, like, if you open up both Malicious or all your equipped spells, if you have a way of getting to this guy, this can then reset your hand and allow you to play the game back the way you want it to be. And then lastly, as an alternative, it's either Boral Load Dragon. So these are either or. If you've got Boral Load Dragon, they're about 25 quid now. They're the most expensive card between the main deck and the extra deck, but in my opinion, it's very much worth getting it. If you can't get hold of a Borolo Dragon, go into an Exton Knight. You can get it as an Ultra for like £2. And this can catch a lot of people off guard in this budget version, purely because they're like, they want nothing here, I'm going to set up my board. You go Exton Knight, nuke their board, reset the game state, and then you can cause them issues during their turn. If you've lost hand advantage, it gives you a couple of turns to regain that advantage, and then hopefully with this deck, using 1 or 2 cards, you can fill your board back up with an Exiled, Summon Sort, Nat Beast, Dark Claw, and kind of really cause your opponent issues, if not finish them off altogether. So like I said, just for a reiterate, it's Borolo Dragon or the Exton Knight, not both, so one or the other. Unless you've got the money for both, then of course you can try and find space in this to fit your personal preference and put both in for you. So that is it for the deck profile, quite straightforward and simple. Like I said, I've tried to keep this as budget as possible, hence there's no hand traps, ghost ogres, ash blossoms, anything like that. I kind of try to keep it as close to a 40 card deck as possible because I want the consistency to be there. I think if you want to go above a 40 card deck, then you are looking at playing as many extenders in this deck as you possibly can. Me personally, I don't like the idea of running loads of equipped spells, and I don't like the idea of running loads of extenders, but where they're necessary, by all means you do need to play them. Now with this, with the equipped spells, getting into Resolve is quite important, and then being able to resolve its effect of getting a level 4 hero monster from your deck to the board is very, very important, which is why I see the stance of playing more equipped spells. It's going to take, for me personally, a little bit more testing to kind of get my head around playing so many equipped spells, but once I've kind of figured that out, I might drop them down. Like I said, you drop them down and go for monster extenders, or you keep them as they are and play less monster extenders. So it's really down to you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Hope this gives you a couple of ideas for your own build. Like I said, put as much money into it or as little money into it as you possibly can. This is one of the cheapest versions that I could possibly put together for this. It's still very, very fun and very, very powerful. Your win cons are, of course, Nat Beast and Dark Claw, along with some of your other extra deck monsters that can kind of push you through for game, especially with stuff like Anki as well, which is quite cheap since it got reprinted in the Legendary Hero decks. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. Also, YouTube, thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom left-hand corner and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got more deck profiles, duels, pack openings, and many more Yu-Gi-Oh videos coming up for you all year round. So don't forget to stay tuned for all of that. Thanks, and as always, guys, happy dueling.